It started with a feeling. Not a sound. Not a word. Just a chill in the room where there should have been warmth. You felt it. Didn't you? The night was still. Too still. Like the air itself was holding its breath. And deep in your spirit, something whispered. Something's not right. But no one said anything. They laughed. They talked. They carried on like the world hadn't changed, like that night didn't shift something in the unseen. But she knew. She didn't say it aloud. She didn't need to. Because when you looked into her eyes, you saw it. That distant stare. That heavy silence. That quiet knowing that only someone who has seen too much carries. She knew what happened that night. But instead of speaking, she chose silence. And when they buried her, they didn't just bury a woman, they buried a truth. One that still lingers in the shadows. One that still moves through your dreams. One that doesn't want to stay hidden anymore. Because you feel it, don't you? The weight. The questions. The strange coincidences. The dreams that wake you at 3:15 a.m., as if something, or someone, is trying to speak. You've tried to forget. You've tried to bury it with logic, with distraction, with denial. But what refuses to die is truth. And truth has a strange way of rising, even from the grave. They said she passed peacefully. They said she didn't suffer. But no one asked why her hands were clenched so tightly. Why the expression on her face looked like she had more to say. Why the air in the room felt thick when her soul left her body. You were there, remember? Standing by her bed. Listening to the clock tick louder than your heartbeat. Watching as her lips trembled slightly, like she was trying to speak, but the words never came. And now you keep asking yourself the same question: what did she know? What was so terrifying, so sacred, so consuming, that she took it with her to the other side? It wasn't just family drama. It wasn't just a secret affair. It wasn't about shame or guilt. No, this goes deeper. Because God saw what happened that night. And God never forgets. The truth may be buried in silence. But heaven keeps records. And Archangel Michael, the one who guards secrets, battles darkness, and reveals truth in divine timing, he hasn't looked away. Not for a moment. That night was not ordinary. You've known it deep in your bones. The energy was off. The lights flickered. The dog barked at a corner of the room no one could see. And her eyes. They were too alert for someone supposedly fading. Like she was seeing something the rest of you couldn't. And maybe she was. Maybe she saw what truly entered that room. Not just death, but justice. Not just loss, but revelation. And now that she's gone, the responsibility falls on you. To seek. To listen. To remember. Because even in her silence, she left something behind. A message. A clue. A presence that still lingers in the corners of that house. You know the place. The hallway that feels colder than the rest. The drawer that won't stay shut. The picture frame that tilts slightly, no matter how often you straighten it. It's not your imagination. Something was started that night. And heaven is asking, will you finish it? Will you be the one who breaks the silence? Who uncovers the hidden? Who listens when the world tells you to forget? She knew what happened. She carried it with her. But maybe, just maybe, she knew you'd be the one brave enough to find out the rest. And that's why she waited until you were in the room. Until your hand was the last one to touch hers. Until your eyes were the final ones she locked onto before leaving. Because she knew you'd feel it. She knew God would speak to you. And now you feel it, don't you? The stir in your spirit. The burning question. What really happened that night? We're only beginning. And if this is reaching somewhere deep inside your soul, then it was meant to. You're not imagining it. You're not overthinking. You're being awakened. Heaven is calling you into clarity. And if you believe you're not alone in sensing this, like, share, subscribe. Not just for yourself, but for the ones still waiting for the truth to rise. Because what's buried in silence is now rising through you. You thought it would fade with time. That the heaviness in your chest would dissolve. That the questions would get quieter. That her silence would finally let you rest. But it hasn't. Because something about that night refuses to disappear. The room where she passed still holds her presence. Not just as a memory, but as an echo. A kind of invisible gravity that pulls you back every time you try to walk away. You've stood there more than once since it happened. Pretending to look for something. Pretending you weren't listening for anything. But your spirit knows. There's a kind of stillness that feels louder than noise. And in that stillness, you can almost hear her voice. She's not speaking with words anymore. She's speaking through signs. And you're not imagining them. The sudden chills. The dreams that feel more like warnings. The flicker of the candle when there's no wind. This isn't your mind playing tricks. This is what happens when truth tries to find its way through silence. Because what she saw that night, what she knew in those final moments, it didn't die with her. It passed into you. And now, every part of your soul feels it, like an unspoken promise you never made, but can't ignore. You didn't ask for this responsibility. But maybe, your soul did. Before this life. Before the memory. Before the bloodline. Maybe God knew you would be the one strong enough to carry what others buried. Because here's what no one tells you, sometimes, silence is a form of protection. She didn't tell you what happened, not because she didn't trust you, but because she knew words wouldn't be enough. The truth wasn't ready then. But now, it's beginning to awaken. You feel it when you walk into that old hallway. When your fingers brush against that photograph no one talks about. When you hear someone say her name and something shifts in the room. Her soul left, yes. But her purpose didn't. And that night, that strange, trembling night, wasn't just about death. It was about the return of something long forgotten. A cycle reopening. A truth resurfacing. And you? You were chosen to carry it forward. But this won't be easy. Because some people don't want it revealed. Not everyone in your family wants this story told. Not everyone is ready for the light. Some have built entire lives on the silence. On secrets. On pretending that what happened that night was normal. But your spirit won't allow it. Because God is revealing things to you that can't be unseen. Whispers in your soul that can't be ignored. Dreams that feel like memories you never lived, but somehow know. And in those dreams, there's a presence beside you. A hand guiding yours. Eyes that look familiar, but no longer blink. It's her. She never left you. She just stepped into the unseen, to finish what began long before that night. And if you're wondering why this is happening now, why you're the one feeling this, it's because heaven moves in divine timing. And this is your moment of remembrance. This is the part of your life where what's hidden begins to rise. Not to destroy, but to free. Because secrets, when buried too long, don't disappear. They grow roots. They grow shadows. But truth? Truth grows wings. And now that truth is taking flight through you. So don't be afraid of what's rising. You're not alone in this. You are divinely guarded. Archangel Michael stands beside you, sword drawn, watching over your steps. He doesn't fear darkness. He pierces it. And that's exactly what's about to happen through you. So if your heart is beating faster, if something deep in your soul is nodding quietly, then listen. This message wasn't written, it was delivered. And if it spoke to you, if it touched something real inside your chest, take a moment now. Breathe. Reflect. Then share this message with someone who needs to remember they're not crazy, they're called. Like this message if your spirit felt it. Share it if you know someone else needs to. And subscribe for more truths that aren't just heard, they're felt. Let this not be the end of the moment, let it be the beginning of your awakening. There's a reason you haven't told anyone what you've been sensing. Not because you're unsure. Not because you're afraid. But because deep inside, you know they wouldn't understand. They weren't there that night. They didn't see the look in her eyes. They didn't feel the spiritual shift in the room. They didn't notice how the house changed after she passed, how the silence grew thicker, how the light in certain rooms dimmed, even when the bulbs were fine. You noticed. You felt it. And ever since then, something has been stirring inside you. Not just curiosity, but calling. A spiritual pull. Like an invisible string leading you somewhere you've never been, yet somehow already know. Because the truth isn't new. It's ancient. It's ancestral. And she wasn't just your grandmother, your mother, your aunt, she was a gatekeeper. She was holding something sacred. A secret that didn't begin with her, but ended with her. And now, it's trying to reach you. You see, in every family, there is someone heaven chooses to awaken first. Someone who sees through the smiles. Someone who senses the spiritual patterns. Someone who can feel when something is off, even when everything looks normal. That someone is you. And that night, when she was lying in bed, eyes barely open, breath growing shallow, something passed from her spirit to yours. Not with words. Not with gestures. But with silence. Because silence is sacred. It holds more than sound ever could. You were chosen, not because you're the oldest or the wisest, but because your spirit remembers what others have forgotten. The spiritual inheritance isn't about wealth or property. It's about truth. And truth doesn't die, it hides in bloodlines, waiting for someone strong enough to carry it. She knew this. She saw it in you. And that's why, in her final moments, she looked at you the way she did, like she wanted to say so much, but didn't have to. Because her soul recognized something in yours. That you were born for this moment. To finish the story that never got to be told. To uncover what others have tried to keep buried. To speak what others feared to admit. But you won't do this alone. Because when you walk with God, no darkness can swallow your light. And Archangel Michael, the one who guards spiritual lineage, the one who fights unseen battles, the one who stands between destiny and destruction, he's already moving with you. You feel him, don't you? That presence at your side when you're afraid. That sudden calm when you want to panic. That deep sense of being watched over when no one else is around. That's not imagination. That's divine protection. Because what you're about to uncover isn't small. It's not just about one person, or one night, or one secret. It's about patterns. Generational patterns. Spiritual debts. Unspoken prayers and unresolved pain passed down through time. And now, it's breaking, through you. But truth doesn't break gently. It breaks with thunder. With dreams that feel too real. With tears that come for no reason. With memories that aren't yours, yet live inside your body like they've always belonged. You are not going crazy. You are waking up. And her silence wasn't abandonment, it was activation. She didn't tell you because she needed you to seek. Because in the seeking, you would become the one who doesn't just carry the truth, but transforms it. This isn't about revenge. This is about release. Releasing the lies. Releasing the shame. Releasing the burden that's been whispered through your family's bloodline for generations. You are the turning point. You are the one they prayed for, even if they never said your name. So if this part of the journey is cracking something open in your spirit, don't run. Let it rise. Let it make you uncomfortable. Let it pull you closer to what's real. Because when heaven chooses you, it also equips you. And when Archangel Michael stands beside you, there is nothing in hell or history that can stop your healing. So pause for a moment right now. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. And if this message has opened something inside of you, if it spoke to something ancient and sacred in your soul, then don't hold it in. Honor it. Share it. Let others feel it, too. If your heart is awake right now, like this message as a sign that you're listening. Share it to pass the torch of truth. Subscribe, so you never miss what heaven still has to say to you, through stories, through whispers, through the words that find you when the world goes quiet. Because what was buried that night is now rising through your voice. There's a strange moment in grief, the moment where pain stops being loud and becomes quiet. You're still breathing, still moving, still talking like you always do. But something in you has shifted. Like the world kept spinning, but your soul didn't catch up. That's where you are now. Not just grieving her absence, but grieving the weight of what she left behind. Because it wasn't just silence she took with her. It was responsibility. You can feel it now, can't you? The way rooms feel heavier when you walk in. The way certain conversations seem to stop when you enter. The way people glance at each other when her name comes up, and then quickly change the subject. They're hiding something. And your spirit knows it. They thought time would erase it. That the truth would decay like the body. But truth doesn't rot. It waits. And it's been waiting for someone with divine sight. Someone who doesn't just hear words, but hears silence. Someone who can read between the moments, between the glances, between the lies. Someone like you. But let's be honest. This burden isn't easy. Sometimes you wish you never felt it. Never heard the whispers in your sleep. Never had the dreams that wake you up with your heart pounding. Never had to carry what the others buried. But maybe she did too. Maybe that's why she stayed silent. Maybe the truth was too heavy for her alone. Maybe she knew she wouldn't have the strength to speak it, but that you would. Maybe that's why, in her final breath, she didn't ask you for anything. She just looked at you. And in that look, everything changed. Because when someone sees you with spiritual eyes, they don't just look at your face, they look into your calling. And now, you're seeing what she saw. You're hearing what she heard. You're feeling the same weight she carried. But you're not carrying it alone. Because where she had to suffer in silence, you have the right to speak. God didn't bring you this far to let you break under secrets. He brought you here to break the curse. To close the chapter that's been left open for too long. To shine light on what's been rotting in the dark. And heaven is behind you. Archangel Michael, in all his might, walks beside you now. He doesn't just fight battles, he breaks chains. And the chain ends with you. The shame. The silence. The things they whispered behind closed doors but never had the courage to face. It all ends here. You are not the curse. You are the cure. And that's why this burden found you. That's why the room went cold that night. Why the light flickered. Why you felt watched, even though no one was standing there. Because the truth didn't leave with her. It stayed. And it attached itself to the one strong enough to carry it into the light. You. So what now? Now, you keep going. You keep listening. Keep noticing the signs. Keep writing down the dreams. Keep trusting the voice of God, even when it feels like you're walking alone. Because you're not alone. never were, never will be. She's still with you. And so is every ancestor who prayed for this day to come. The day when the silence would end. The day when the truth would walk again. The day when you would rise. So rise, not in anger, but in awareness. Rise in strength. Rise in truth. And as you do, if this message met you in the middle of your mystery, if you feel like you are the one in your family who hears what no one else hears, don't hold this moment in. Like it, not for attention, but to confirm what your spirit already knows. Share it, so someone else doesn't have to carry their calling alone. And subscribe, not just to a channel, but to your own journey of spiritual remembrance. Because the story isn't over. In fact, the truth is just beginning to rise. You never expected it to feel like this. Not just the loss, but the awakening. There's a strange stillness that follows spiritual responsibility. It doesn't come with flashing lights or loud declarations. It comes softly, like the last breath of someone who knew too much. And lately, that breath has been echoing through your thoughts. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way certain places don't feel the same anymore. The way your heart beats faster when you enter the room she died in. The way you hear her voice, not with your ears, but with your soul. She's not gone. Not really. Because people like her don't just die, they linger. And not because they're trapped, but because they're waiting. Waiting for you to see. To connect the dots. To uncover what they couldn't say. You've begun to wonder what really happened that night. Not just the medical explanation. Not just the shallow details the others accepted without question. But the spiritual shift. You felt it. You remember it. The way the air thickened. The way the clock stopped ticking for exactly 1 minute, before it resumed like nothing happened. The way your name was whispered when no one was near you. No one believed you. They said grief makes people imagine things. But this wasn't imagination. This was revelation. Because something was present in that room. And it wasn't just death. It was truth. And truth always comes with a presence. You're not paranoid. You're sensitive to the spirit. And that's not a weakness, that's a gift. You were given the ability to feel what others cannot. To sense what's hidden. To hear what's not spoken. Because when God chooses someone to carry revelation, He also gives them uncommon awareness. But with that awareness comes weight. You felt more tired lately. Not just physically, but emotionally. Like your soul is carrying something you didn't ask for. That's because it is. It's carrying spiritual memory. Memory that didn't begin with you, but that now flows through you. She handed you a legacy in silence. A story wrapped in mystery. And whether she meant to or not, she chose you to finish what she could only begin. And there's one thing you keep circling back to, that moment. The final second before she left. Her eyes locked onto yours. Her lips parted slightly, but no sound came out. Just a look, one that burned into your spirit like a brand. She wanted to tell you something. You know it. You feel it. It plays over and over again in your mind like an unfinished sentence. What was she going to say? What did she see in those last few breaths? Was it regret? Was it fear? Was it relief? Or was it release? Did she finally feel safe, knowing that someone would carry the truth, even if she couldn't speak it? And if that's the case, then you're not just her family. You're her voice. And now, you're realizing, the truth she carried is far bigger than anyone knows. It's not just about what happened that night. It's about what led up to it. The years of secrecy. The quiet arguments. The letters that vanished. The people who stopped visiting. The questions no one asked because they were too afraid of the answers. But not you. You're not afraid anymore. You've seen too much. Felt too much. Heard too much in your spirit to turn back now. And here's the truth, what happened that night was not random. It was the final movement in a long, hidden story. A story that has been waiting for someone like you, someone unshakable, someone spiritual, someone called, to bring it into the light. So don't stop now. Don't let their silence convince you the truth isn't worth pursuing. Because sometimes, what no one wants to talk about, is what most needs to be revealed. And you were born for this. So if this message is burning in your chest, if you're nodding quietly because you felt this weight, too, if your soul feels seen right now, then don't scroll past this. Like this message, if it awakened something buried inside you, share it, because someone else in silence is waiting for this same confirmation. And subscribe, not just for more messages, but to stay connected to a truth deeper than logic, older than pain, and stronger than fear. You are not just part of this story. You are the one it's been waiting for. You didn't expect this to go this far. At first, it was just a question. A stirring. A feeling you couldn't shake. But now? Now it feels like the story is pulling you in. Like every shadow in your memory is pointing back to that night, back to her silence, back to the final moment she didn't speak. But here's the truth you've been circling around, she didn't need to say it, because part of you already knew. And that's what's been haunting you. It's not just what she didn't tell you. It's that deep, quiet voice inside your chest that's been whispering the same thing since she passed. Look deeper. You've been trying to ignore it. Trying to distract yourself. Telling yourself it's over, that she's gone, that what's done is done. But your spirit isn't buying it. Because lately, the signs have multiplied. The same time appearing on the clock. The same dream, repeating. The same name you keep hearing in conversations from strangers. The name no one in your family wants to bring up. The name she whispered once, a name you never forgot. You thought it was just coincidence. But it's not. It's confirmation. You're being guided. Not by fear. Not by obsession. But by divine instruction. Because there is something heaven wants you to see. Something you've been chosen to understand. Something that will not only bring you peace, but bring justice to her memory. You're starting to understand now, aren't you? That what happened that night wasn't just a spiritual experience, it was a transaction. Something passed. From her to you. From silence to voice. From the grave to the living. And God was there. Watching. Waiting. Recording every detail in His perfect book. Because God does not forget injustice. And He never lets darkness keep secrets forever. That night, in her final breath, heaven witnessed everything. The conversations behind closed doors. The lies hidden in the documents. The decisions made without her consent. The things taken, the things erased, the things denied. But God saw. And Archangel Michael. He was standing in that room too. Not just as a protector, but as a witness. His sword wasn't drawn to take her life. It was drawn to guard the truth that would outlive her. And now, that sword is in your hand. Not a weapon, but a light. Because the kind of warfare you're in right now isn't physical, it's spiritual. And you were born with a spirit that does not back down. You've been through too much. Felt too much. Cried too many silent tears to be afraid now. Because this truth, it's not here to destroy anyone. It's here to set people free. You were never meant to carry this story alone. That's why you keep hearing confirmations. Why your chest tightens every time someone mentions her name. Why certain family members won't look you in the eye. Why you're the only one having dreams that feel more like instructions. She's trying to help you. Even now. Even from the other side. Because when someone dies with a truth still buried, their soul doesn't rest, until the right one hears the call. And you heard it. Whether you wanted to or not. Whether you were ready or not. You felt the call in your bones. And now, heaven is confirming it, you are the key. Not because you're perfect. Not because you have all the answers. But because you have something far more powerful, spiritual courage. Courage to face what others deny. Courage to walk into the room where it happened. Courage to say, something isn't right here, and I won't pretend anymore. And you're not doing it for revenge. You're doing it for peace. Peace for your spirit. Peace for hers. Peace for the generations coming after you, who deserve to grow up in truth, not secrets. So pause here for a moment. Breathe. Put your hand over your heart. And recognize this, you are not crazy. You are not lost. You are not alone. You are anointed for this. Chosen. Backed by heaven. Watched over by angels. And if this message felt like it was written exactly for your heart, then honor it. Like this message if your spirit whispered yes as you listened. Share it with someone who also feels like they've been chosen to break generational silence. And subscribe, so the next time heaven speaks through a story, you're right there to hear it. Because there's one more chapter left. And everything is about to be revealed. You're here now. Not just physically, but spiritually. Awake. Alert. Changed. Something in you shifted along this journey. And it wasn't just curiosity anymore. It became conviction. You now understand. This was never just about what happened that night. It was about what was waiting to be healed. Because the silence she kept wasn't out of weakness, it was a kind of protection. She knew the truth would cost something. She knew not everyone was ready. She knew speaking would cause division, maybe even danger. So she chose peace over pain. Chose stillness over the storm. But before she left, she passed the storm to you. Not to punish you, but because she believed you could walk through it without drowning. And look at you now. You didn't break. You didn't run. You didn't silence the voice inside you. You followed the whispers. You chased the fragments. You stood in the tension. And now, the truth is standing in front of you, not to haunt you, but to release you. Because the real mystery wasn't what happened that night. The real mystery was how heaven turned pain into purpose. How something that should have broken your family became the exact thing that will free it. You weren't imagining the signs. The chills. The dreams. The way certain rooms felt too cold. The messages that came out of nowhere. The name that kept showing up. The fear in their eyes when you asked the right questions. That was confirmation, not confusion. And now you know. It wasn't just one night that held the secret. It was a lifetime of moments no one wanted to speak of. Patterns repeated. Wounds passed down. Truths buried deeper with each generation. Until you came into this world with a different kind of light. A spiritual fire that won't be dimmed. You were born to remember what others forgot. You're the one they couldn't control with fear. The one who asks uncomfortable questions. The one who doesn't feel normal in rooms full of pretending. That's not a curse, that's a calling. And now, you're walking into what she couldn't finish. You are the answer to the prayers she didn't know how to pray. Because even in her silence, she was reaching for help. And heaven heard her. God saw her pain. And He responded, by sending you. Now it all makes sense, doesn't it? Why you've always felt out of place. Why your heart breaks over things others ignore. Why you've seen things in dreams that came true. Why you can't stay in places where truth is twisted. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to break through. To break the silence. To break the cycle. To break the chains. And Archangel Michael has been with you every step of the way. Every time you felt like giving up, he stood by your side. Every time you cried in secret, he strengthened your spirit. Every time you doubted your own clarity, he cleared the fog around your mind. This was never your fight alone. This was a spiritual mission from the very beginning. And now, it's complete. You've remembered. You've reclaimed. You've risen. And the silence that once haunted your bloodline? It ends with you. Not in rage. Not in revenge. But in redemption. Because now you understand, what she took to her grave was not the full truth. It was the seed of it. She planted it in you, trusting that one day, it would bloom. And today, it has. So what now? You keep living in truth. You stop pretending. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You stop calling your discernment paranoia. You stand tall in the light of who you are, and who heaven has made you to be. You honor her memory, not by grieving her silence, but by speaking the words she couldn't. You are her voice now. And through you, God is still telling the story. So if this message found you, if it wrapped around your heart like a hug from someone you've lost, if it answered a question you've been too afraid to say aloud, then pause here. Let yourself feel it. You're not broken, you're becoming. You're not abandoned, you're anointed. You're not lost, you're led. And if something inside you knows this wasn't just a video, but a divine appointment, then show it. Like this message if it helped you see your pain in a new light. Share it with someone who's still carrying unspoken grief. And subscribe, because this is not the end of your healing, it's the beginning of your rising. The grave didn't bury the truth. It planted it. And through you, the truth lives again.